Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is 1 year away from release, and theaters are already selling out. His box office power is undeniable, with over $5 billion grossed worldwide across his career. This is a director who turned a biographical drama about a physicist into a billion-dollar phenomenon, proving that audiences crave intelligent blockbusters that challenge as much as they entertain. After analyzing over 100 hours of behind-the-scenes footage and interviews, we're ranking his 10 best films based on 3 factors: storytelling innovation, technical achievement, and lasting cultural impact. We're counting down from good to legendary, and our number 1 pick might surprise even die-hard Nolan fans. Let's start with a film that proved Nolan could handle big-budget warfare. Coming in at number 10, Dunkirk strips away everything we expect from war films. No backstories, minimal dialogue, barely any character names. Instead, Nolan creates pure survival tension through 3 interwoven timelines: 1 week on the beach, 1 day at sea, and 1 hour in the air. These 3 stories crash together through precise editing, with Hans Zimmer's score using a ticking watch recorded by Nolan himself to create relentless forward momentum. Nolan shot with real Spitfires, real naval vessels, and thousands of extras on the actual Dunkirk beaches. Over 70% of the film was captured on IMAX cameras, including aerial sequences where cameras were mounted on actual World War II planes. The dogfight scenes feel visceral, because Tom Hardy really was flying in vintage aircraft, with IMAX cameras capturing every detail. The film treats war not as heroic adventure, but as something to endure, focusing on desperation rather than glory. Dunkirk earned 8 Oscar nominations and won 3, recognizing that its power comes from what it removes rather than what it includes. At number 9, Insomnia proves Nolan can work within the studio system while maintaining his vision. This is the only Nolan film he didn't write, adapting a Norwegian thriller about a detective whose guilt manifests in sleepless Alaska summers. Al Pacino plays a cop sent north to solve a murder, but the 24-hour daylight becomes a physical manifestation of his inability to escape his conscience. The perpetual sun creates a unique visual palette, with cinematographer Wally Pfister using harsh, unforgiving light to mirror Pacino's deteriorating mental state. Robin Williams delivers one of his most chilling performances as the killer, using his typically warm persona to create unsettling contrast. The film becomes a chess match between 2 compromised men, making traditional concepts of good and evil meaningless. Nolan experiments with subjective filmmaking here, using sound bridges and memory flashes that preview techniques he'd perfect in later films. While it lacks the structural complexity of his other work, Insomnia demonstrates Nolan's ability to find moral darkness in broad daylight. Number 8 brings us The Dark Knight Rises, showing us the most divisive ending in Nolan's catalog. This film had an impossible task, following The Dark Knight while bringing Bruce Wayne's story to a close. The stadium explosion scene, shot with actual IMAX cameras, remains one of the most impressive practical effects sequences ever filmed. Nolan detonated a real football field, using 11,000 extras to create authentic crowd reactions. The scope feels massive because it is massive, with Nolan shooting in Pittsburgh, New York, and Los Angeles to create his final Gotham. Tom Hardy's Bane brings raw physical menace, breaking Batman literally and symbolically in their first encounter. The film explores whether hope can exist in a cynical world, pushing Bruce Wayne to decide if Batman is a symbol worth dying for. Where the film sometimes stumbles is in its ambition, juggling multiple villains, time jumps, and political allegories that don't always mesh smoothly. Yet its technical achievements, particularly the aerial shots of Gotham under siege, showcase Nolan's commitment to capturing real scope. The film asks big questions about revolution, redemption, and whether heroes can ever truly retire. The Prestige takes our number 7 spot, a film that is itself a magic trick about magic tricks. 2 rival magicians destroy themselves and everyone around them in pursuit of the perfect illusion. The film's structure mirrors a magic performance with 3 acts: The Pledge, where you show something ordinary; The Turn, where you make it extraordinary; and The Prestige, where you bring it back with a twist. Nolan uses this framework to hide the truth in plain sight, making every viewing reveal new layers of deception. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman play obsessed artists whose rivalry escalates from professional jealousy to mutual annihilation. The period setting allows Nolan to explore the intersection of science and magic, with Tesla's electricity representing technology indistinguishable from sorcery. Scarlett Johansson and Rebecca Hall play women caught between these dangerous men, showing how obsession destroys everyone it touches. Michael Caine's narrator warns us to watch closely, but the film's genius is that even when you know the secret, the execution still amazes. The final shot, revealing water tanks holding terrible secrets, might be Nolan's most haunting image. At number 6 sits Batman Begins, the film that killed superhero movies as we knew them and rebuilt them from the ground up. After the neon disaster of Batman and Robin, Nolan approached Bruce Wayne like a real person with real trauma. The film spends its first hour showing how a billionaire orphan realistically becomes a vigilante, from training with ninjas in the Himalayas to building his arsenal piece by piece. This grounded approach revolutionized superhero cinema, proving comic book characters could exist in a world resembling ours. Christian Bale brings method acting intensity to Bruce Wayne, playing him as 3 different people: the real Bruce, the public playboy, and the Batman persona. The fear toxin sequences let Nolan experiment with subjective horror, showing Scarecrow as victims see him, a nightmare made of burlap and psychological terror. Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard's score abandons traditional superhero themes for percussive industrial sounds that feel like Gotham's heartbeat. The tumbler chase, shot practically on Chicago streets, established Nolan's preference for real stunts over green screen safety. Batman Begins proved that taking superheroes seriously could create both artistic and commercial success. Number 5 delivers Interstellar, turning astrophysics into pure emotion. The film dares to make love a quantifiable force in the universe, showing a father watching decades of his children's lives pass in minutes due to time dilation near a black hole. Matthew McConaughey's breakdown watching these messages might be the most devastating scene Nolan has filmed, making Einstein's relativity feel like a punch to the gut. The film asks whether humanity's survival instinct can coexist with individual love, then answers by having both be the same thing. The production mixed cutting-edge visual effects with practical elements, building full-scale spacecraft sets that could be rotated and tilted. The black hole Gargantua was created using actual equations from physicist Kip Thorne, making it scientifically accurate enough to generate academic papers. Nolan shot on both 35mm film and IMAX cameras, using format changes to separate Earth's claustrophobic decay from space's infinite possibility. The Tesseract sequence, where Cooper communicates through dimensions using love as his compass, achieves what science fiction does best, using impossible scenarios to explore universal truths. The film's reputation has grown since release, with audiences embracing its sincere emotion in an era dominated by ironic detachment. Memento claims the number 4 spot by turning its protagonist's disability into the audience's experience. Leonard Shelby can't form new memories, so the film's structure moves backward, each scene ending where the previous one began. This reverse chronology means we share Leonard's confusion, never knowing more than he does about how he got here. The film alternates between color sequences moving backward and black and white sequences moving forward, converging at a truth more disturbing than any memory loss. Guy Pearce plays Leonard as a man constructing his own reality through Polaroids, tattoos, and notes he leaves himself. The central question isn't whether Leonard will find his wife's killer, but whether he wants to remember the truth. Nolan made this breakthrough film for just $9 million, proving that innovative structure could replace expensive effects. The editing by Dodie Dorn deserves special recognition for making a backward story feel propulsive rather than confusing. Memento established Nolan as a director who could manipulate time without losing emotional impact, setting the template for his entire career. At number 3, Inception remains Nolan's most intoxicating synthesis of spectacle and abstraction. A heist film where the vault is the unconscious, and time moves at different speeds on each dream level. The multi-layered dream architecture turns cross-cutting into a visible machine, with a van falling in slow motion, while a hotel spins and a fortress explodes, all happening simultaneously at different time rates. That famous spinning top ending is less a gotcha than a thesis statement. Reality is the story we choose to believe. The rotating corridor fight with Joseph Gordon-Levitt was achieved via a 100-foot gimbal set that rolled 360 degrees. The actors performed their own stunts while the world literally turned around them, creating action that feels dangerous because it was dangerous. The tilting hotel lobby and zero-gravity sequences further grounded the impossible in tactile reality. Audiences feel the rotation in their gut because the camera operator was rotating too. Leonardo DiCaprio anchors the spectacle with grief, playing a man whose guilt has infected his subconscious. When Inception earned over $800 million worldwide, it proved audiences hungered for original blockbusters that trusted their intelligence. Oppenheimer detonates into our number 2 position, Nolan's most decorated film with 7 Academy Awards including Best Picture and Best Director. This 3-hour epic transforms a physicist's biography into a thriller about knowledge as humanity's blessing and curse. The film's structure splits between color sequences, showing Oppenheimer's subjective experience, and black and white sections revealing the political machinery working to destroy him. These timelines converge like particles in a chain reaction, building to revelations that recontextualize everything we've seen. Nolan and cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema developed special black and white IMAX film stock, the first of its kind, to capture the bureaucratic inquisition with maximum clarity. The Trinity test was achieved without computer graphics, using practical effects to create the sensation of witnessing humanity's most terrible achievement. Cillian Murphy's performance captures a man who understands the universe's secrets but can't escape the political world's petty vindictiveness. The film's 3-hour runtime feels necessary, allowing Nolan to explore how scientific triumph becomes personal tragedy. When Oppenheimer swept the Oscars, it proved that challenging adult dramas could still be cultural events, especially when projected on the largest possible screen. Taking the crown at number 1, The Dark Knight transcends superhero cinema to become a crime epic about the price of maintaining civilization. The film opens with a bank heist that establishes the Joker not as a criminal, but as an agent of philosophical chaos, systematically destroying Gotham's faith in its institutions. Heath Ledger's performance creates a villain with no backstory, no motivation beyond proving that morality is a comfortable lie. His pencil trick, hospital explosion, and interrogation scene became instant classics. But the performance's brilliance lies in its unpredictability, making every moment feel like a lit fuse. Nolan shot 6 major sequences with IMAX cameras, the first narrative feature to use the format extensively. When the aspect ratio expands during these scenes, particularly the truck flip and opening heist, the film literally grows to match the Joker's impact on Gotham. The practical stunts, including flipping an actual semi-truck in downtown Chicago, give weight to the action that no computer effects could match. The film asks whether Batman's existence creates villains like the Joker, whether surveillance and deception can serve justice, and whether cities need noble lies to function. The ferry sequence, where civilians and criminals must decide whether to blow each other up, distills post-9/11 anxiety into a moral experiment with no easy answers. The Dark Knight grossed over $1 billion and won Heath Ledger a posthumous Oscar, but its true impact was proving that blockbusters could tackle complex, philosophical questions. When Batman takes the blame for Harvey Dent's crimes, The film argues that symbols matter more than truth, a fitting statement from a director who builds elaborate illusions to reveal deeper realities. It remains the high watermark not just for superhero films, but for populist cinema that refuses to talk down to its audience. Christopher Nolan's films work because they trust us to keep up, to engage with complex ideas, while being thrilled by spectacular execution. From $9 million puzzles to billion-dollar epics, he's proven that audiences want more than passive entertainment. His commitment to practical effects and large-format projection makes each movie an event that demands the biggest screen possible. As The Odyssey approaches, selling out theaters a year in advance, Nolan continues pushing cinema forward by respecting its past. What makes your favorite Nolan film? Drop your own ranking in the comments below, and subscribe for our next video into the top 10 films of Leonardo DiCaprio. Thank you.